Welcome to Beating Cancer Daily. Beating stage 4 cancer for 30 years still takes my breath away every time I say it. I'm Saranne, founder of the Comedy Cures Foundation, and I hope you'll join me for just a few minutes daily for the next 365 days so we may laugh, learn, maybe cry a little as we live our best days beating cancer daily together. Jacqui's amazing. She is our functional medicine expert, our certified nutrition specialist, our RN, our whole health educator, and certified health coach. I almost forgot that one, Jacqui. You have so many credits to your name, but she's really a pro. We want to get into something that's so exciting. I can't wait for this episode to air because it's called the Mind Diet. And I know so many of us are thinking we need to lose weight, we need to gain weight, but this isn't about that. This is about eating for your mind. And I can't think of a better gift to give to people who might be going through chemotherapy and experiencing chemo brain or an aging brain than to talk about how to eat for our mind. So thank you, Jacqui.
Yeah, this is a good topic. One of the things we did with our podcast for the last couple of years is we've really been talking about how what you eat, how you live really shapes the way that you live your life, right? And today we're actually focusing on how what you eat and how you live your life shapes the way that you think, how you remember, and how you feel. Hence the name, the Mind Diet. It's not a fad diet. It's actually a diet that was developed in 2015 by a nutritional epidemiologist, and her name was Martha Claire Morris. So you can thank her. She was at Rush University at the time. And it combines two of the most highly researched dietary approaches, the Mediterranean diet and the DASH diet. The DASH diet is dietary approaches to stop hypertension, which is high blood pressure. And what's really interesting is this combination really demonstrated incredible benefits for the brain. So it would almost be a disservice for us, Saranne, not to talk about this program.
I try to follow all the nutritional guidance that you've given us over the 130 plus episodes. But what I love about this is that it's comprehensive. So if you can only listen to this episode, here's a good one. But I do encourage you to go back and listen to all of Jacqui's because they really are a master class.
Yeah, this is really a spotlight on this specific dietary approach. And some of it may sound familiar from other podcasts because the first part or pillar of the Mind Diet is really focusing on the foods that support brain function. And you guessed it, it's also the types of foods that will support the rest of the body, improving health. But I'm going to give you a little bit more specifics, right? So the first pillar of the Mind Diet is about loading your plate with foods that actively support your brain function. Those are things like your leafy greens, the spinach, organic, please, kale, romaine, and at least 6 servings of those per week, even more, right? We've talked about adding colorful vegetables to your plate every single day. Now, the recommendation of the Mind Diet is also berries, right? Having blueberries at least twice a week. I have blueberries almost every day. Blueberries are a superstar, including nuts most days and 3 servings of whole grains daily. And there was this landmark study that found that people who ate leafy greens daily had brains that function like someone 11 years younger compared to those who rarely ate them. 11 years younger from just eating a salad.
And if you laugh a lot every day, you can look on the average 10 years younger. So I wonder if that would get us to 21 years younger.
I know. Just add it. We'll just add it all together. I mentioned that blueberries were a superstar. Researchers actually call them brain berries because they're packed with flavonoids that are called anthocyanins, and those actually cross the blood-brain barrier. And they've been shown in studies to improve memory, slow age-related cognitive decline. 2 servings a week, as I said, is what the Mind Diet recommends. I would love to see you get more. but that's the minimum that they found. The second pillar, again, loading your plate with healthy stuff, is including heart healthy fats and the right kind. That is the most important thing. It really is important for you to swap out some of the fats that may not be serving you well. So, for example, swapping butter and margarine and including olive oil as your main cooking fat. And you can eat fatty fish, right? So, fatty fish, things like salmon, sardines, or mackerel, at least once a week, maybe twice a week. And the reason for that is because your brain, and we've talked about this before, your brain, not just yours, Saranne, but everyone's brain is 60% fat and it needs high quality fats to function, right? So that means we need omega-3 fatty acids. We especially need the DHA that's found in fatty fish. And the reason for this is that they literally are the structural components of the brain cell membranes. I think that's really cool. The omega 3s are actually the structural component of it. So, an interesting fact, extra virgin olive oil, and when I learned this years ago, extra virgin olive oil became my new best friend. It contains this compound called oleocanthal, which many researchers believe can help clear those amyloid plaques, and that's the protein clusters that are associated with Alzheimer's disease. And it works similarly to ibuprofen in reducing inflammation. So, as many of you may know, I'm not a huge fan of nonsteroidal anti-inflammatories unless absolutely necessary. So, instead of the ibuprofen, why not a tablespoon or two of olive oil? Because it has that oleocanthal in there, which is really good for reducing not only neuroinflammation, but systemic inflammation.
You think about how we eat on a daily basis versus how we should eat on a daily basis. And there's this huge discrepancy. I mean, I try, but even listening to this, I'm like, wow, I could improve. I could definitely improve. And you think about your Eat the Rainbow, 9 to 13 servings of all different colors of fruits and vegetables. It's even more advanced than what this diet is. So, in an interesting way, we should be able to do this diet because if we're already shooting at that target that you've been giving us of 9 to 13, then this is doable.
Completely. Yeah, it is. And you know what we're doing? We've always said we're the conversation starters, but we're actually just giving people the why, right? The why we want to include the blueberries. Hey, I'm going to have more blueberries in my diet because I know that those anthocyanins are going to cross the blood-brain barrier and reduce neuroinflammation. That's pretty exciting, I think, at least. The third pillar or part of this is including plant-based proteins. And those are your beans and your lentils 3 or more times a week, or what the Mind Diet recommends, nuts and seeds regularly. And these foods give you protein and fiber without the saturated fats that come from those animal products. Now, we've talked about the gut brain axis in many of our podcasts, and the gut brain axis is a huge area of research right now. And it turns out that fiber that's in the nuts, the seeds, the beans, the lentils, that's actually going to feed your healthy bacteria in your gut, which in turn produces chemicals that influence your mood, your cognition, and even how you sleep. How cool is that?
That is very cool. I'm
And
waiting for you
walnuts.
to say pumpkin seeds.
Pumpkin seeds, pumpkin seeds. I love pumpkin seeds. But even chia and flax and even certain nuts like walnuts. I love the fact that walnuts look like tiny little brains. They look like tiny brains for a reason. Scientists actually joke that they look like that so that we know that they are a top nut for brain health. And they have the highest concentration of DHA of any plant food and significant amounts of polyphenols that reduce oxidative stress in the brain.
I can
So,
never
food,
unsee that, Jacqui. Like every time I take a walnut, I'm like, ooh, I'm eating a baby brain. Look at that. It's kind of weird at the same time, but I can never unsee it and I can never unhear it. So thanks for that.
yeah. Well, food is medicine, right? So I think that we do whatever we can to think about food in a way that it is healing. And I like the little brain thing, right? I eat it and I'm like, oh, this is good for my brain. And so we talked about the foods to bring in and nourish our body with, but we do need to talk about the things that we need to limit, right? And so the mind diet is not about banning any one particular food group because the studies actually showed that if you just make progress, inch closer to a higher quality diet that you're going to get benefits. But one of the reasons I like the Mind diet is it's not overly restricted. It does recommend limiting red meat to fewer than 4 times a week, butter to less than a tablespoon a day, cheese to 1 time per week, and pastries and sweets, if you have to have them, less than a few times a week, and fried food or fast food less than once a week. And those are, to me, very generous. I would prefer that you never have fast food just because I don't like what's actually in it, and limiting the sweets if you can, because high saturated fat diets have been linked to increased beta amyloid burden in the brain. And that basically means that there's more sticky protein plaques that are associated with Alzheimer's. And so just swapping out some of those saturated fats that are found in those foods that we mentioned, and we bring in the unsaturated fats like olive oil, is going to have a very meaningful shift over time for your health, right? So it's not about going cold turkey for the cheeseburger, right? It doesn't mean you can never have a cheeseburger. It just means that modest reductions, even just shifting your pattern, is going to make a difference in your health.
That seems doable. I mean,
It is.
I think we can all work towards this. I really do. I'm somebody that really loves to have dessert after a meal. I just feel like it punctuates it. That's the culture that I grew up with. And so maybe it's just one square of chocolate instead of a big piece of cake.
Yeah.
And maybe two French fries off the plate of another person instead of getting your own order. I think we could do this, Jack.
Are you one of those people that reach over and take French fries off someone's plate?
Always, because then I don't order my own serving.
I don't know. That's something to be said about someone that does that.
I do. I really do. I admit it.
So the fifth pillar or part of this is consistency over perfection. And that's really what we're talking about, right? So the most important part of this is just to be consistent, right? The original Mind Diet study scored participants on how closely they followed the diet. And they found that even moderate adherence, not perfect, just regular, being consistent with the fruits and the vegetables, was associated with lower rates of cognitive decline. So you don't have to be 100%. So some of the facts from that study, which was done in 2015, they called it the Mind Diet Study, was that the strict followers had 53% lower rate of Alzheimer's disease, but even moderate followers saw a 35% reduction. Still significant. So consistency and direction matter more than perfection, which I like.
I like perfection, but I'm trying not to be a perfectionist. That was part of getting through my cancer treatment was to let go of perfectionism. I really had this super high bar and somebody just said to me, get out good because your good is heading towards perfect. And the more that you try to just get out good and not hold on to perfectionism, that would be helping so many more people than if everything had to be perfect. And I think the podcast is an example because if I had held on to perfectionism, we would never have been able to achieve 7 episodes every week for years, right? So the
Mhm.
fact that I could just say, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be accurate, science backed, and it has to be fun. And I think that was a huge lesson for me. And look at all the good this podcast is doing in 149 countries because good was good enough. And I think if we could all hold on to that, especially giving ourselves that grace as we're going through cancer treatment or survivorship. And that's why I wanted to do the episode today, even though I wasn't feeling at my 100%. I was like, you know what? Let's just have fun, get out good. This is such valuable information with you, Jacqui. I didn't want to miss the opportunity to put this into the world.
Oh, I agree, Saranne.
It,
And I will say, as one former perfectionist to another, Saranne, I think that perfectionist attitude adds a lot of stress. Stress is something that creates inflammation in the body, and that inflammation is something that can wreak havoc on your health. So I'm a recovering perfectionist, I think. I would say that. I still strive to be the best version of myself that I can. And I think everybody should do that. But I also am okay if I don't hit every single goal or every single mark. Okay, so what's a quick starting tip for the mind diet, right? Because I think I don't want people to feel overwhelmed, right? So I don't want you to overhaul your entire diet this week. I want you to pick one change, add a handful of blueberries to breakfast, swap your cooking oil to olive oil, make sure you're heating and cooking under 350 degrees. Have a bean-based meal once this week. Make Monday meatless Monday and build from there, right? So your brain is incredibly responsive to what you feed it. And I don't think we pay enough attention to when we're putting something in our mouth. What is this going to do to my brain? Like, how is this going to make me feel? And it's unlike a lot of health interventions. Your brain will actually respond rather quickly. It's like when we would feed our children sugar, right? And we would see the immediate effects. When you feed your body the healthy stuff, you will see the immediate effects. So we want to think about these as little brain bites that we're giving ourselves that are going to make our bodies feel better overall, our mood better, our cognition, decrease our risk for certain neurodegenerative delay or cognitive issues. So it will and can make a big difference. So go out and get some blueberries now.
I was going to say, not only when we feed our kids sugar, but when I have sugar, I'm bouncing off the walls.
It is. It's so true. It has such a big impact.
Yeah. I think this is doable, as I said before. And if you go back and listen to the habit stacking episode that Jacqui did, I always think of that episode when she introduces something that I want to introduce into my day, my habits, my life. And so I think that's a really good reinforcement episode, Jacqui, just besides all this great information, how to really start processing all of this and starting to eat a mind diet.
I agree. It's so true.
I'm really excited that we can all start this mind diet. And I want people to write to us or go to comedycures.org and record a message to us and tell us, are you starting this mind diet and what impact are you seeing as you are implementing the walnuts, the blueberries, the olive oil? I think it would be exciting just to hear how this is going for you. So you can go to comedycures.org and go to the contact menu and write to us, or you can go to the podcast section and record a message to us. You can go to jacquibryan.com and speak to Jacqui there. If you can't find her website, then come back to me at the Comedy Cures Foundation, comedycures.org, and I will send you her signature. Yay. Jacqui, we
Yay! I know. Through all our injuries and our illness, we did it. We were here for you today. We care. So just pick one simple change for the mind diet. Let us know what you think. We really care. We really want to hear from you.
Yep. And have a blessed day. I will see you tomorrow. If you loved today's episode, then tell the world. Why? Because Beating Cancer Daily is a listener and donor supported experience. So the more people you tell and the more people that join us, the more robust and interesting programs our nonprofit, the Comedy Cures Foundation, can bring to you throughout the year. So if you have some extra change, I'd love you to go to comedycures.org and make a donation today of whatever level is comfortable for you. And it will be tax deductible to the extent allowed by law, because Comedy Cures is a nonprofit 501c3 organization founded from my chemo chair, April 1999, and we've been going strong ever since. So please consider making a donation today and help our community and this podcast thrive. Guess what time it is? It's time for me to read the disclaimer. Beating Cancer Daily and the membership circle are not in lieu of medical advice or treatment. They are for entertainment purposes only. Please consult your healthcare team to review your best strategy. Thanks for listening. See you guys tomorrow.